Israel and Iran, of course, are trading major strikes for a fourth straight day. Iranian strikes hitting multiple locations across Israel, including residential buildings in the heart of Tel Aviv. At least 24 people have been killed so far, with many more injured, that according to the Israeli government. And in Iran, key military infrastructure is facing continued bombardment from Israel. The IDF announcing just a little while ago that they've destroyed more than a third of Iran's missile launchers. The Iranian government says at least 224 people have died in the strikes. Joining us now in the Situation Room, the Israeli President, Isaac Herzog. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us. How are the Israeli people coping with these attacks right in the heart of Tel Aviv, in Haifa, and other major populated areas of Israel?
Well, as you know all too well, Wolf, we are a very resilient and strong nation, but it ain't easy. It's not simple. It's quite painful, of course, that we are losing dear sisters and brothers of ours from young children all the way to the age of 94, including Holocaust survivors, veteran Israelis, Muslims and Jews. And that's the whole difference. We are targeting an Iranian nuclear program, which its aim is to threaten the region, the Middle East, the world, and destroy Israel, whilst they're simply trying to spray Israel with missiles. Our air defense systems are operating well, our home front command, our spirit of the nation, all the emergency forces. But it's painful, and we will go on, and we shall prevail and overcome, of course.
As you know, Mr. President, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he launched this preemptive strike against Iran in order to take out Iran's dual threat of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. Was there specific intelligence, as far as you know, that Iran was rushing to weaponize its uranium to build nuclear weapons that led to this unprecedented Israeli strike?
It's a unanimous decision of all of the Israeli defense and security establishment, the Israeli cabinet, and I will add to that it's based on facts, meaning information and intelligence of very sensitive sources that was given and presented also to the administration, to the National Security Council and the advisors of President Trump, and by which, on the one hand, there is massive enrichment of the Iranian uranium, and on the other is moving towards the armament, meaning the explosive that creates the bomb. And that leads you to a zero breakout time and extremely dangerous. And you remember and recall all too well, Israeli governments consecutively have made clear that we must remove all threats of nuclear capability from any of our enemies. It happened in the past and it happens now.
The U.S. and Iran were involved in recent months in these negotiations over Tehran's nuclear program. Iran pulled out of the talks that had been scheduled to take place yesterday in Oman in the wake of Israel's military strikes. Why did Israel have to strike Iran now, given that the U.S. and Iran were actively engaged in trying to find a peaceful diplomatic solution to Iran's nuclear program?
Because the question is, what do you mean by peaceful diplomatic? Because you can speak peaceful diplomatic, and on the other hand, underneath, you move forward to the bomb. And that was exactly the situation. And let's not elude ourselves. For decades, Iran has been spreading havoc, terror, hate, building a massive missile program and a massive nuclear program, and with its proxies all over the place, simply planning to destroy Israel. And, by the way, by that, regaining full control or gaining full control of the jihadist regime over the Middle East. And from there on, Europe is the next stage. And one has to realize it. We are not inventing. We didn't seek this war. None of us did. From October 7th onward, we've been fighting these proxies of Iran. And the message that I'm sending here is clear. What we are doing is contributing substantially to the defense and security interests of all Western and free world countries, leaders of whom are convening this morning in Alberta, Canada. And that is why what we are doing is supporting the security interests of these nations. And we should all align together and be very firm with Israel on this, meaning we support Israel in its fight against Iran's nuclear ambitions on the one hand, and of course get our hostages back from Gaza as soon as possible so that we can offer a different trajectory in the region.
President Herzog, CNN has learned that President Trump actually rejected an Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Do you believe it would be a good idea to target the Iranian leader?
I don't want to refer to it as such. You know, I'm the head of state, I'm not the head of the executive branch, and I leave it as such to those who have taken or take all the decisions in this war. But I do want to say that one has to remember that under Ayatollah Khamenei, the worst terror infrastructure, I would say a satanic terror infrastructure that's spread all over the world with a clear intention. Why do they have terror cells in Latin America? Why do they kill civilians all over the world by terror activities from Lebanon to Argentina? Why did they do this throughout the years? And why, for heaven's sake, do they arm a little tribe in Yemen called the Houthis, 50,000 people in all, with ballistic missiles and cruise missiles of a major world power? Because they have an intention. And that is what we are trying to alert humankind and the world. If you want world stability, if you want this war to de-escalate, get the nukes out of Tehran's hands and move to peace, and not enable them to undermine peace, not enable them to derail any future of peace in the region. And they are doing that with this enormous war machine. Rather than feeding their people, they're spending all of it on havoc, terror, death, and nuclear developments.
The U.S. has helped defend Israel from Iran's attacks over the past 4 days, but President Trump has repeatedly stressed that the U.S. was not involved in the strikes against Iran, and he has not committed to joining Israel in the future. Can Israel destroy Iran's nuclear capability? So much of it is deep underground in mountains without direct U.S. involvement?
We are very grateful to President Trump for his support and friendship, and also to other nations who explicitly stressed that Israel has the full right to defend itself by eradicating and removing the Iranian nuclear program. As per the facts on the ground and the capabilities and what's up next, I don't really feel that I have the capability of giving you all the details. But I'm quite confident that what we've shown so far can continue dramatically and can change the course of how things are also in Iran. After all, the Iranian people have been oppressed for decades. And we all believe they're fed up, and it is their chance to rise and change the regime. But it's not one of our objectives per se. Our objective is to remove the Iranian nuclear program, which includes with it a massive missile program.
How much has Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile capability, Mr. President, been set back with these latest Israeli strikes?
We believe it's been set back in many ways. We will come out with it once we conclude all the details. You know, we've hurt and we've undermined and we demolished a lot of their infrastructure of terror and nuclear capabilities. But there's a lot of work still to be done.
President Isaac Herzog of Israel, thank you so much for joining us.